Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the very first Full Court Press podcast. I'm your host, Rob Ellerman. That intro music gets me a little excited because as a kid, I always thought I was going to be running out on an NBA court to that music. But here I am, old and slow and behind a microphone, but that's okay. This podcast is going to be great. A little background on me. We have been in the business for 27 years. We have been a big team for a while now. We have 210 agents. We are in 5 different states, 12 offices. And this podcast is going to be a little bit about real estate, a little bit about the agents, the team. We've got some developers coming on, and they will be talking about projects, locally and some all over the country. So we'll have a little bit of that. And then we're going to have a splash of basketball in there too. My love of basketball. So you'll see that theme throughout, as you see in the Full Court Press name. But today I'm really super excited because our first episode, we've got 2 great guests. One is Chris Foster. And Chris is a Lake of the Ozarks developer. He's been a generational developer. He's been in it. His family's been in it for a long time. And you're going to hear some really cool stuff about the old days at the Lake of the Ozarks. And he has got a couple of projects down there we're going to talk about. You'll definitely want to hear that. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And then our second guest is Majid Ghavami, kind of a man, myth, legend here in Kansas City in real estate. And he manages a office for us and 56 agents, I believe he has, and does 700 transactions in his career, like tons and tons of business. So he's got some great insight, great social media guy. So we're super excited to sit down with him as well. And then we also want to thank this episode is sponsored by Cindy Morgan with Prime Lending. Cindy's been a phenomenal part of our program, and she actually helped me do my first ever deal. So I owe a lot to her, and she's been great. And if you need a home loan, she's definitely one of the best of the best. So thank you, Cindy. And now let's continue to the episode. Hey, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce our first guest here at Full Court Press, and that is Chris Foster. Chris Foster is a developer who grew up at the Lake of the Ozarks and worked with his family on several projects at the lake. And I believe went to USC in the 90s. I'm going to date you a little bit here, Chris. Attended college there. So I attended in the 90s as well. So dating both of us a little bit. But been back to the lake for a while. Came back during the condo boom. So it's my pleasure to introduce Chris. So welcome, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Rob. I really appreciate it. And I guess no pressure for the inaugural podcast.
I mean,
here,
you're one of one, buddy. So this is all you. So let's start off.
I'm honored you're having me. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So let's start off. Just first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us some background.
Yeah. So I mean, really, I grew up at Lake of the Ozarks, and my family homesteaded the area of the 1820s. So ironically, my family actually beat the Lake of the Ozarks by 100 years. And my grandfather watched the lake fill up. So, going back, it's, we have a long history there. So it's, to say the least, that, we have a, deep rooted involvement in the progress of the lake going back. My grandfather built one of the first marina. It was a campground with square dancing and roller skating back in the 50s. And then my father was a big part of the condo boom, and that started in the 90s. And now here we are, I'm the, let's say, 3rd generation of lake developers in the family. And we've switched to a more amenity focused and technology focused style of condominium. And, we're excited to be doing that. And amongst other projects we've done at the lake, because we've really done a lot of different gambits and everything, and retail, industrial, housing. And I mean, it's at the lake, you name it. We've been involved in, I think, all 3 Walmart developments. So it's got a long history and everything. So
now, don't steal my thunder. We're going to get into a little bit of that. But, yeah. So I was worried about dating you, and then you went to the 1820s. So, I shouldn't have been worried about the 90s, but yeah. So tell us. So the Foster name is obviously very big down at the lake. Like you just mentioned, been around for a long time, several projects. So, tell us to start, what was it like growing up with a dad that had that kind of name and reputation and the family history of development?
Yeah. I mean, growing up in that kind of thing, you just don't know it. You just being a kid and doing all the stuff. Like, to me, growing up at Lake of the Ozarks, it was just a different environment because we had this huge influx of tourists on in the summer. And then, in the wintertime, it was just a down season. But let's say what really was changes growing up is that when I was a kid, there was nobody that came down in the off season. And it was a lot of the projects that we did with the condos that brought people in, on the shoulder parts of the season. And now the lake has turned into more of a year-round community. But, growing up in that, I mean, I was, mowing lawns and weed eating and doing all the grunt work stuff for my father. I mean, I had a weed eater in the back of an old Jeep Wagoneer that I had to go and clean stuff up around signs to make sure it was clean so that, that the condos would have the best face looking forward on things. Because you got to make sure everything is nice and tidy when people are driving up on the weekends if they want to buy a condo from you. So I can tell you firsthand, it's been soup to nuts, top to bottom on our experience and everything that we did on these projects.
Yeah, well, that's great. So the projects were your playground, right?
I guess if you want to call it a playground, it was.
The weed eater doesn't sound like a playground. You're right. You're right.
I hated this stuff growing up. I just hated it. I mean, it was something that, I felt like my dad got to do all the fun work, and then I'd come in and, get all the stuff that he's like, I need this done, go get it done. And somebody can't do it. So now it's your turn, and you just go do it. But I mean, whether it was, hell, we would chop firewood down off the project. So we would heat the house in the wintertime. So, I mean, it's different at Lake of the Ozarks, I'd say, and how everything's treated. But, growing up, yep.
You've seen it all. You've seen it all. So give us some of the projects that like the family did work on. I know you mentioned the Walmart stuff, but I know you've been into a lot of big projects. So just give us kind of a tidbit on that.
I mean, we've been around. It's with the condo projects. We've, Cedar Heights, Cedar Glen, the Ledges, the Miramar, Meridian, Lock Haven. There's just so many projects that we've built over the years in the condominium sector. And we've also, done some industrial. We bought, it was the old pencil factory up in Versailles, and it was the old kiddie ride factory in Eldon, Missouri. And I turned that into an assisted living facility called Rock Island Village. And, we were involved with Eagles Landing with Gary Pruitt. We were, just the whole soup to nuts. What I'm saying is like, if it happened at Lake of the Ozarks, a lot of times we had a hand in it and helped out with it. So, we've just always been looking at how to grow the lake and do what's best for the community. That's always been our focus.
Well, that's awesome. So you've obviously been involved in a lot of big projects, but let's talk about the project we want to talk about today, Ember Ridge. Yeah,
absolutely.
35-mile marker condo project, 32 units. I'll let you kind of take it from here and give us a little info on that.
Yeah. So, it's a big piece of property. There's about 1,500 feet of shoreline, 10 acres, and we've got a lot of lakefront, and then we have some interior on the back, but it's a mixed use in the sense that we're not fully doing condos and everything. We're going to give a different variety of offerings for people to come down and enjoy the lake with. Right now, our primary focus is the first phase of the 32 units of condos that we're under construction with right now. And, a couple of the things that we're doing, like we kind of broke the mold from the old condos. Instead of using wood, we're using steel on these condos. We're also using technology to make them more focused on what the people want, to allow them access to rent their condo property or let other people use it through apps and that sort of thing, where you come down, you have an app on your phone, it unlocks the door. So a lot of seamless integration of technology that will really enhance the experience for the owner of their unit and also their vacationers and other people that they invite down or coming down with them. The amenity focus, all our condo projects we built basically just a kidney bean shaped pool. And so now that these condos have turned into more ad hoc resorts, just the feel of it, we decided to enhance it with more resort amenities. And the resort amenities is we'll have a clubhouse with the pool. We'll have meeting rooms that people can enjoy, have a group of people and, meet in a clubhouse that'll have a fitness center, recreation room, we'll have golf simulators, maybe some pool tables, video games, other stuff for the kids, just a full encompassing experience for people, whether it comes to the water sports of having, let's say paddle boards and kayaks and stuff like that that people can come in and use, or just come down and go fishing off the dock. I mean, really what we're doing is enhancing the experience for everybody, and I think we're going to be real successful in that.
Yeah, I love it. I love the exterior look of that, and just it's kind of that rustic look. And I think it's, when you look down through the lake and you see a condo project, a lot of times it looks very cookie cutter, I would say. They all kind of look the same. And so when you brought me this project, I was like, man, this is super sharp from the exterior. So, and obviously from the interior as well. But the first thing we saw was that exterior, and I was like, wow, this is something that's really cool. So tell us a little bit about the steel process again. I know like this might be with the first. Are we for sure it's the first steel condo building at the Lake of the Ozarks, or one of the first?
So yeah, it's definitely one of the first. There's been a couple others that have incorporated steel construction. The couple things that we are doing is we wanted to get away from we used to joke about it, call our own condos basic bay, just a gable roof and then 4 stories and 4 levels of condos, and we just built it as fast as we could because we just were giving people what they wanted. In order to compete with the old product that we actually put out there, we wanted to have something a little unique, and one is building with the steel just gave us a different some different tools in the toolbox that we could use to amplify the image. And I think we've really been successful in that. I mean, it's, when you look at it at first glance, it just has a much different look to it. And it, we call it, I think it's natural or organic modern, I think is or natural modern. So it's incorporating, the look and feel of nature, but at the same time, giving it a nice, fresh, clean, modern look.
Yeah, I absolutely love that look of it. That's what sold me on the project from the very get-go. Not to mention your background, but the pictures were nice. So I like that. And then let's get into that rental ready aspect again. I mean, This is kind of cool because you mentioned the app, but a lot of condos down there, they're not Airbnb friendly or VRBO friendly, right? And so you've kind of made this one to where as an investor, this is a really cool deal. So explain that rental ready and the technology piece of that a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, first is, all the documents to make sure that people can do whatever they want with their property. If they want to come down and use it full time for their own personal interest, that's fine. But we're seeing is a lot of the people want to have the ability to rent their unit out to have some income coming in to offset the cost of the year-round expenses. But the rental ready is, we're offering, white glove turnkey solution that you come down and we already have it all set up. Every condo project that we built in the past, you'd have to go out and source a management company. You have to go out and source all the different aspects, like let's say from getting a lock for the door, or just, what the interior, how you decorate it. We're offering solutions that does everything for everybody. So if you just say, I want this, and we just say, okay, we'll get it for you. There isn't any brain damage to it. It's a simple process that, we just have it all dialed in. The big thing is when people come down and they want that, they don't want to have to go out and try to figure out how to make it work. They just want to entrust somebody that can do it. And I think with our background in building condos, we've just really taken a long time at taking a step back, figuring out the right way to do it. So this will be seamless for everybody.
Yeah. That sounds great. So let's flash back to that exterior picture again, if we could. I wanted to ask you, so you've got one building going up now, and then there's a second building plan, correct?
Correct.
And then there's the land, to the left of this picture.
Mm-hmm.
This is all land. And so give us a little insight to what you plan on doing with the rest of that land by the project.
Yeah. So we plan on doing some houses in between. We have a condo that you can see on the screen right now. And then on the point, we have another condo tower. In between those, we're planning houses for people that want to have a house, but also have these amenities. Right now, if you come down and buy a house, you have to, if you want a pool, you have to build your own pool. You want to have, let's say, a screening room for watching movies and stuff. You got to build that in the house. With us providing that on site in the clubhouse, we thought this might be a good idea to incorporate that with, single family homes as well. On the top of the hill, which you can't make out as well, we have cabins up there, which are some say 500 square foot style cabins that are owned. They're primarily just a different feel from the condos. They're going to be smaller, but it's also they're separated by separate units. Each one of those cabins. So ultimately, it's having a complete different kind of offering that we're trying to hit on all types of buyers, all types of people that want to enjoy the Lake of the Ozarks. Whether it's just coming down and enjoying a small cabin with just you and the wife and the kids, or whether you want to have a group of 20, 30, 40, 50 people come down and enjoy the houses, cabins, clubhouse, and the condos. We're bringing everything to it.
Right. Yeah, it kind of puts everything all in one place, it was really, really cool. We may have to talk about investments in the houses as well down there, Chris. So, and the houses in the cabin, that's all going to be rental ready as well. And with the condos also, I want to go back to that for a second. You can even incorporate like full furniture in a package to maybe move right in, right? Or have that rental ready package for the owner that buys it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's our partners that we're working with on the doors and the amenities, and they kind of offer all these different things that bring a whole project together. That if you want to, incorporate different, the whole style and vibe, we're already buying the furniture for the clubhouse, so it's not that much harder just to add on to that list of what we're buying. You've seen a lot of these projects that are apartment projects. They offer a lot of more amenities, and that's the genesis of the thought behind offering more amenities for our customers and vacationers that are coming to Lake of the Ozarks.
Yeah. Well, the pictures look great. Everything sounds great, right? But really the proof's in the pudding, right? I mean, is it great? And I think, according to my records on the sales, we have 32 units, and 16 of those units are now spoken for. So over half the units are already spoken for. So if you're watching this podcast, get to Ember Ridge and chat with our on-site sales associate there. Well, they're not on-site yet because the steel's still going up, right? But you can see emberridgesales.com down there in the corner of the screen. So definitely jump on and talk to Amanda Morgan. She will definitely be able to lead you in the right direction there. So that's awesome. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm sales, and I'm a little bit invested in this project as well. So I do want to see it go, and I love it. I love what you're doing down there. That's phenomenal work. So now for the big question. So that project's awesome, going great. A lot of people down at the Lake of the Ozarks want to know about. There's been a rumor that this group has bought the outlet mall, and we're finally going to see the outlet mall maybe take shape again and become something that like it was, a few years back. Any insight to that? Anybody that might be a part of this?
Yeah. Well, we're currently working with the group that has purchased the mall, and what I can confirm, Simon no longer owns it. And the group we're working with out of Kansas City, it's Sky Realty. They now own they own it. We have, our whole planning side of things is what's coming together. The ultimate plan is we're going to have to switch it from just a completely retail project, because in this day and age, that doesn't really work. We would look at this project and see the oceans of parking that were there. And we would say, why did they build so much parking? And then we talk about remember, they used to fill that parking up. So, not long ago, the malls were a big, big, big draw. And, it's kind of a short time period that everything's changed. But with that dynamic, ultimately a mixed use project, was still having retail, but, having it focused in one area, different entertainment components, maybe some housing potentially, and hotels and food and beverage, restaurants, all these different features that brings a more of a well-rounded project to the market. And in a vacation destination, people still want to go shopping when they're on vacation, but they also want those vacation amenities as well. So, we're still in the planning phase. We don't really have anything to announce. It was one that the Sky Real Estate Group just closed on it not too long ago. And this process, I mean, it's a big project. Currently there's about 400,000 square feet of retail there, 60 acres. And, for us to wrap our heads around it, there's just a lot of work to do, a lot of the pieces of the puzzle that have to be moved around. And ultimately, we're really excited about the opportunity to work on this project. And we think this is really going to be something great for the community.
Yeah. That sounds good. I wanted to ask you all the questions, right? Anchor tenants, what's going on? And I know that there's a lot of confidentiality stuff going right now. So it has saved me some money over the last few years because my wife always had a girls trip down there, and it seemed like instead of being at the house at the lake, they were always at the outlet mall. So I look forward to maybe throwing some more money back into the outlet mall. But the one thing I did want to tell you is you got to keep the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory. I've got to get my caramel apple every time I go down there. So yeah, that's the one. Well, really cool, Chris. We appreciate you coming on. Is there anything you want to leave us with, or have you pretty much covered it all on Ember Ridge and the outlet mall?
Yeah, I mean, right now, I think we've covered a lot of ground on what we have going on. Really, ultimately, I'm just really excited about the opportunities at Lake of the Ozarks and the growth that's really coming right now. So we're excited for the future, and excited to work with you on these projects as well, Rob.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate you being here with us today, and we'll check in with you in a couple 3 months, and we'll see how all the projects are going and get a little more info from you then. Sound good?
Absolutely, Rob. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it, and thank you for having me on.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. I am super excited today. This is going to be a great episode. I just know it. I've got my friend, the man, the myth, the legend, Majid Ghavami in the house. Yay! So I'm the crowd too. So Majid, give just a little background on Majid. He's been in the business for 15 years. He's one of the most well-known, famous realtors in all of Kansas City. 700 plus transactions over your career, 25 to 30 million yearly in sales, just absolute phenomenal numbers. Now, I will say he's been in it for 15 years and the numbers were good, but I think Melody joined about 8 years ago, right? And Lynn somewhere in there. Yeah. So then the numbers kind of skyrocketed every year. So we're gonna give them a little love right out of the gate. So it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Well,
your first podcast, and I get to be a guest. I feel so honored.
I know, episode 1. So this is going to be awesome. And what we want to do is, I love talking about the numbers. Obviously, I love talking about the team, but we want to get into a little more about Majid, right? Okay. So I want the audience to hear, your background and kind of growing up. And I know you worked in your dad's business.
Yeah.
So give us a little background information. It doesn't have to be like all the great real estate stuff.
Sure. So born and raised Kansas City, and my dad had a construction company growing up, and I got involved in that very early on. I think I was driving a forklift by the time I was 7 or 8 years old.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. May have wrecked it a couple times here and there. Accidents happen when you're that young, but I'm so thankful, growing up and being involved in my dad's business. Back then I was like, oh, this is such a drag. Like, I'm always having to go to work when other kids were like, doing stuff on their summer vacations. My dad was dragging me to the business. Right. I look back now, it's such a blessing though. Like, it taught me so much, but it was amazing to watch him run that business and run a successful business, and just the way he operated and the attention to the details. And I think that's in any business, you're probably going to be successful when you can have that attention to details and good customer service and things like that. But I feel like that really helps set the stage for me to have success in real estate. So
yeah, absolutely. So there's more detail to that, right? Like you actually, you grew up, you quit wrecking forklifts, right? And you actually ran the business for a while before it sold. Am I getting that right? I remember our conversations in the past, and we haven't pre-rehearsed this, so this is really, really cool, right? Right off the cuff. But yeah, give us a little more detail, because you actually ran the business for a while and really thought about staying in it and not doing the real estate thing.
I did, yeah. When I was at KU, Rock Chalk. I actually
Here we go.
my dad unfortunately had a back injury. And so I had to come back. I had to take a semester off school. And I came back to Kansas City, and I was really running the business while my dad was recovering. And that was a lot for a 21-year-old kid to do. I look back, I still don't know how I did it, but
it probably helped shape you to run the business that you have today.
He grew up pretty quick, and very thankful for it. And then after my dad got better, came back, and it was really a partnership. We were running it together. And but it was interesting. It was a good business, successful business, but my dad knew it wasn't a passion for me. And that was a hard thing to admit to my dad too, because I just thought forever, hey, this is the business I'm going to be in. It's successful. Why would I want to walk away from something like that? But my dad knew, and he asked me one day, he goes, do you want to do this the rest of your life? And I was like, sorry, Dad.
I do. It's a conversation.
Yeah, like I respect everything you've done. It's amazing. But I don't know. It was just one of those things I just could not see myself doing for the rest of my life. So he said, okay, that's okay. He was good with that. And he goes, we'll sell it, because he was getting to a point where he didn't want to keep going there.
Right.
So
so what'd you do? You just jumped like right in, got your license. How did that kind of come about?
I didn't know what I was going to do after the sale. After the sale, I had to stay on as a consultant to the new owners for 18 months. And so then my time was up, and I had no idea. I had a psych degree from KU, and not much you can do with a psych degree these days. So I had to figure some stuff out. And it was December of 2008. I was at a holiday party, and one of my friend's moms was a realtor with Reese Nichols. Shout out to Debbie Runke. She encouraged me. She's like, I could see you doing real estate. And I didn't.
I would like to thank Debbie as well. I need to send her a Christmas gift. I didn't.
It was December, and I was just like, okay, after the new year, I'm going to go take the classes and jump in. I like it. The idea just excited me, made me excited. I just decided to jump right in. So got licensed in February of 2009.
Best decision ever.
Yeah. Only regret is wish I would have done it sooner.
Yeah.
So,
well, like you said, all of that background and helping your dad run that business really shaped how you're going to run your business. So, you probably would be successful anyway, but I bet you that there's a lot of that has helped you at least get there faster than you would have.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the work ethic he installed into me and everything, I knew being a business owner is tough. You don't really have someone to report to. You're on your own, and you got to have that self-motivation. And I was determined. I wanted to show my dad I could be successful in something else too. So
yeah. Well, good stuff. So that's interesting. That we can tell that, that background's really helped you for the future here and where you're at now. But let's talk a little bit about now.
Okay.
So this is my first podcast, but you are like a social media guru, right? So
I try.
A lot of agents always, say to me oh man, Majid's really good. And I know agents on our team will call you and say, hey, I don't like to be in front of the camera. Will you come out? So you're apparently very photogenic and you do a good job. But you just won this award. And for those of you listening, we are flashing up a 2024 Top Real Estate Agent on Social Media Award, named by Property Spark, number 17.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to raise that up though. I mean, 17 is good out of
your top 10 next year.
Yeah. I mean, that's out of what 14,000 agents. So, I mean, it's pretty good company.
It's an honor. Yeah. And thank you to Property Spark. I appreciate the honor.
Yeah.
The award.
Yeah. That's awesome. So give us a little info on your social media. What do you look for when you decide to do something in social media, and how important is that to your business that you're currently running?
Sure. Well, I will tell you, I started doing social media a long time ago. I'm kind of embarrassed to admit this, but you can go on YouTube and probably find some videos of me back from 2011. We started doing it. They were cheesy.
Did the director hear that? We need to pull up some video now.
But here's the thing. We live in the Midwest, and my name is Majid Ghavami. It's a tough name. It's an intimidating name. I had to put myself out there to show people, yes, I do speak English. You can understand me. We can converse.
You've always teased about that, because like when maybe I send something over, I'm always like, it's a tough subject, right? Like, hey, he's really good, and like you're gonna, like, I mean, you do a great job at that.
Well, thank you. So that was the reasoning of really honing in on that and doing all that social media stuff at the beginning, was just to get myself out there, and that way people could hear me and see me and feel more comfortable reaching out to me to help them.
But if they do speak Farsi,
if they speak Farsi, yes, I can.
you're still our guy. All right.
Right. So from there, it kind of took off. I mean, I started enjoying doing it. It was just fun for me. And then it got to a point where what I look for nowadays with social media is just trying to educate our clientele, about the housing market, good ways to be a good homeowner, and whatever that, that just helps them, and so that's the main goal of when I do those social media videos and things like that. I'm just trying to stay also top of mind to clients.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, you do some stuff as well, social media, but then you do a lot of video to your COI list as well.
Correct.
It's monthly.
Monthly video email goes out to my COI. And once again, that's just staying top of mind to them and letting them know. And doing that, I'm also, like I said, educating them too on the current market conditions, what's going on. Because I want my people, when they think real estate, I want them to think Melody and I, as the go-to. So it's really helped stay top of mind to them.
And we see your numbers. A lot of people do think of that. So they think of you guys when they go to the real estate, question, right? So, all right, well, let's get into, when I approached you and Melody, and we thought about having a second location in Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
I know that was a really tough decision to make. You guys were your own team. I was kind of explaining how we run teams under the team umbrella. So you are Ghavami Homes,
correct,
under the Rob Ellerman Team, or powered by the Rob Howard Team, right? Don't want to say under because you're the top, but now you've grown that to, I believe it's 56 agents that you manage over in the Leawood office, and you've got a not only a thriving real estate business in sales, but you also have this thriving management business. So just tell us a little bit about, like, I wasn't there for the pillow talk with you and Melody. Like, is this a good thing, a bad thing? Like, give me a little insight to that. We haven't really talked about that.
We haven't. So first of all, flattered when you first reached out, and was super excited about the opportunity. But we did have hesitation just because we were intimidated. You have a big team. And my biggest concern was, are we going to lose our identity on being on a big team?
I've heard that before. I don't know. Maybe a couple times.
And then, after meeting with you and studying how your team operated, your focus was on the agents. It wasn't about Rob Ellerman. It was truly about the agents. So I quickly got over that fear of losing our identity. And then it got to the point, like, okay, is this the right move to make? We were comfortable where we were at, where we're having success. But I also knew we wanted to be the best we could be, that we have to surround ourselves with the best, Right. So if you want to be the best, you got to work with the best.
I love that.
And, it got to a point where I started losing sleep at night, thinking, what if we don't jump on this opportunity?
Yeah.
And so I think we remember letting you know that, hey, Rod,
you kept running the numbers. Now, how do we?
It was all about she's the first girl. Yeah, she was. And we got to the point where we couldn't wait to tell you that, like, we'd be honored to be on your team.
Yeah. Well, we recently merged our second office, our other Kansas office, into your office, and it's really cool because you guys run a meeting after the broker meeting that has so much value, and you guys bring so much to the table for our agents over there. I believe you got a standing ovation the first meeting. That's what I hope.
They're standing for her.
Yeah. So give me a little bit of, like, what do you try to bring to that meeting, every couple of weeks?
Sure.
And the value that
we figure everyone's time is precious. If we're going to take the time to meet, we want it to be valuable. So we're talking just what is going on in the market, obviously market conditions, but then also what can we educate the agents on the team to help them bring value to their clients? That's the biggest thing. We're always trying to show the agents how they can add value to their clients, especially in this market. You have to add value. Like you said earlier, you mentioned the number of 14,000 agents in the city. There's a lot of competition out there.
Right.
Why is someone going to pick up the phone and call you to help them with their real estate goals? And so that's usually the number one priority is how are we adding value? That way they can pass that along to their clientele.
Yeah. And especially with, the new lawsuit and everything that went down. I mean, it was super important that you had that discussion nonstop, right?
Right.
Because we even see it today that some agents didn't get that training, and it's not a good.
I mean, we were tackling that uncomfortable conversation months before even everything became official with the rule changes and all that. But I feel like it put a lot of the agents on the team in a much better position. When the rule changes did go into effect, we were ready for it. We were already there, where I felt like other people in the industry were playing catch up. So you got to be prepared. You got to be ready to go in this business.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would you say is maybe the most important thing that you want to give your agents? And I mean, the managing agents that you manage there and the Leawood office. So like, what's the number one thing that you'd say, like, man, if I can teach you anything about this business, or if I can help you with something, this is it?
I'll go back to something I learned from my dad when he was running his business.
See, here we go.
Yeah, here he is. So he always emphasized client care, taking care. And he was like, always told me, if we take care of our clients, they're going to take care of us.
Absolutely.
And he had the same mentality too with our employees too, but just always that, what can we do to add value to them and, make them want to like refer business to us. And so I think that's the one thing I always try and strive on, and telling people, like, when you do your job, you got to do it at an elevated, performance. Because if you're just getting by and just doing it, fine, you get the deal done, maybe you have a happy client. But when you do something that you go over beyond and you surpass their expectations, they're going to be your biggest cheerleader.
Right.
Then they're going to go out and tell, and then they're going to tell their friends, family, coworkers, whatever, about the service they had. I always explain it like a restaurant. Like, you go eat at a really, really good restaurant, you're probably excited to share that with your friends, family, like, oh, you got to go check this place out, I got the best burger or whatever. You have a crappy experience, you're also going to tell people about it too, right? So you got to aim for that elevated experience.
Yeah. And I've always said too, the value you bring your clients, I mean, that's part of why you pick a real estate company. That's part of why you pick a real estate team. A lot of times I'll talk to teams and I'll say, tell me what value your agents have for joining your team, right? And then I always say, don't tell me mentorship or leads, because that's just not scalable, and retention doesn't follow with that. And a lot of teams think about that question and they just sit there and go, well, but I help them with this. Like, no, not your mentorship, because, you and Melody sell $30 million a year, roughly, right? You don't ever call me asking how to sell a house, right? So my mentorship in that realm isn't what's going to be scalable. We've got to figure out other value. And I think that's kind of what helped me build the team too, is I figured, like, hey, I need to have more tools for the agents to get to their clients. And if their clients are more successful, the agent's more successful, and they stay with us for a long time. So I think that, to your point, the value proposition is massive in this business.
Well, and that's another reason we joined personally.
Right.
I started seeing the value you provided. That wasn't just you.
Right.
It was,
because that value wouldn't be that much if it was just me. Let's be honest. Yeah.
No, but, and the numbers speak for themselves. Once we joined the Rob Ellerman team, our numbers went up. We became better realtors because of the value the team provided for us.
Yeah.
And that was huge. And it just gave me even more confidence in doing my job.
Right.
That was a game changer.
And we hear that a lot, right? Not only to have the tools and the value, but the confidence to just go in and know that, like, we have more marketing than anybody else, and we have more tools than anybody else. And those numbers did jump, right? 15 million to 21 your first year. And
that was always my goal. I was always stuck at this 14 to 16 million. And I was like, how do I get to 20? How do I get to 20? And first full year with your team, we hit, I think it was 21 or 22. The following year jumped up to almost 30, and then we started hitting 30 million. And
Yeah.
so it was, like I said, the resources you gave us and the confidence. I mean,
Okay.
I've been in the business for 10 years. I knew how to do it,
Right.
but there's something said when you just feel good.
Yeah.
Your clients can feel that.
Yeah. Let's make sure this is recorded. So I want to make sure this is a playback piece there. No. No, that's really good. I mean, it is really taking care of the client, and that's what grows your business, right? So we've looked at it from that standpoint of taking care of the agent to take care of their clients, and that's kind of how we've grown it. So good stuff. So I see there's like a gift here.
Yeah,
The what? Or a box. I shouldn't say a gift.
Or I use something. Sorry, I'm not much of a gift for.
Well, this is really nicely wrapped. For those of you on the radio here, we're just opening a Prime box. I think
Amazon
so.
always comes through.
Oh, look at this! My first podcast Pro, real estate legend. So there's a little trophy with a microphone. Look at that. Well, thank you. Well, I think I've got a gift for you as well. Like, I want to. So you're a KU fan. You mentioned Rock Chalk. So I think I do think we have something for you here. So again, for those of you not watching, that is Missouri's victory over KU last week.
You watch that every day?
Yeah, pretty much every day. Yeah. So, well, usually it's just figuring out another KU buddy I can send it to. So, Jeff Murphy's got it.
Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Congratulations. We'll leave it at that.
You don't really mean it, So, hey, give me my once in a 20-year span of victory.
I mean, you guys, you put on a clinic that game. I mean, it wasn't just like a gutsy 1-point win. I mean, you dominated.
It was good. It was good. Yeah. Well, I think I was there at the game, obviously with the video, but our big guys really handled Hunter pretty well. I thought they kind of bodied up, and they're not much offensively, but defensively they're
the defense led to a lot of points. I mean,
you had more turnovers in the first half than you do a game, almost by double.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and it just watching on TV, the environment looked amazing. So kudos to the Mizzou fans for making KU feel uncomfortable.
It was insane. So, all right. I like my gift that you gave me a little better, but I thought we would do that. So, all right. Well, we appreciate you being here, but we've got this little game we're going to play.
Okay.
And it's going to be 5 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to have to look over here on my screen and see. So just super quick, if you could be any animal, what would it be?
Eagle.
Eagle.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like it. Would you rather be too hot or too cold?
I'd rather be too hot.
100%. 100%. I agree with that. Oh, would you rather have a penny doubled every day for 30 days or $10 million cash?
I feel like the gut instinct is 10 million cash, but I'm going to go penny doubled for every 30 days.
So he did it. It's kind of one of those things where you're like, something's wrong here. Yeah. I should have done the numbers, but it's ridiculous how much money it is, like way more than $10 million. So good choice there. And if you had to describe your job using only a movie title, what would it be?
Gosh.
This is a tough one.
Tough one.
Don't say Die Hard or something.
It's the season, if you're not. That's holidays. Oh my God.
Home Alone. Maybe that's what Melody would say. Home Alone.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Rob, you stumped me.
That's a hard one.
I
thought it would be pretty.
I'm going to get back to you on that one.
All right. That's okay. We'll let him by. If you could have any celebrity as a coworker, who would it be?
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
I think
Melody's listening.
Yeah. Shaq. I'm going to go with Shaq.
I love that.
He's so fun. He seems like a good businessman. He's involved in so many different things, but he gives back to the community. And he'd just be fun to have around. Yeah.
And if you could double that up with Charles Barkley,
Yeah.
Charles Barkley and Shaq, put them in. Yeah, I would love to work with those guys. That'd be great. So, well, we appreciate you being here, but tell us where everybody can find you on email, your socials. I don't know if you want everybody emailing you. We're going to be famous after this episode. So
Thank you for the opportunity. More Ghavami Homes, social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. You name it, we try and be out there on it. Majid at GhavamiHomes.com is the email. And I always tell, people I'm basically an open book. So if you ever want to just chat about business, it's obviously geared towards our realtor industry friends. You want to meet for coffee anytime, talk about things. I'm an open book. I love to share things and just talk shop and things like that.
Yeah. So you're saying if they want to get to 20 and 30 million,
that's right.
Give you a call and you've got the road.
Oh yeah.
Right? So,
yeah. I've been down that road and it's a good road.
Well, what's great about you and the other managers within our team as well is, we recruit agents, but we really do want to be helpful. Right. So there's agents out there that hey, we're doing our thing, but we'd love to brainstorm with you or whatever. And,
100%.
It's not always the right fit. Most of the time it is, right? Yeah. But for the most part, we're there to be helpful, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I wanted to mention one thing that it's just been the other day, somebody asked me, what's been the most successful part of this year for you? And instantly I could tell you was the success of the other agents on our team.
Yeah.
We had several agents this year that had their best year ever. And that gives Melody and I so much joy. And that's moving forward. We hope to continue to do that for them. And that's what truly brings Melody and I pleasure. So
in my opinion, that's really the key to success. If you are truly, truly happy for the success of others, then you're gonna be successful as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good thing. So, well, thanks for being with us. First episode.
Yeah, it's fun. It went by fast.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you very much. And we appreciate it. Thanks, Majid.
Hey, thank you, Rob. Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to our first ever episode. It means a lot for us to have you here today. I do want to thank our sponsors today and our two guests. I thought it went really, really well. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button and there's a little bell for notifications. Make sure you hit that so you'll be notified of our next podcast. And if you are listening on any of the other podcast sites, Apple Podcasts, any of those, please hit the follow button. You can also follow us. We are on all social media links at the Rob Ellerman Team. And you can follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere. So please come visit us. Thank you again. I really appreciate it.